Okay, welcome back and welcome if it's your first time. There is this thing about women who know how to love but don't know who to choose, and men who know who to love but don't know how to love. So can we just talk for a minute? Like, not some flashy motivational hype speech like you gotta love yourself first kind of way. Just a real conversation. Because you've been sitting with something lately, and so did someone else probably. Actually, it's like you and the other. Because you have been hurt so many times, consistently. And that's a confirmation that now, even as you heal, there is still that little hint of a trauma that still lingers, and this is what is keeping you from moving forward. Both of you. One of you knows who, and the other one knows how. And you need to sit down and talk this out with each other to balance what you have. You both care for each other, but it is this imbalance that keeps you away still, and that can only be solved when you sit and talk it out detail. Then you will see that there was nothing to really worry about because you have each other anyway, because you're all in your head. Let me ask you something. Have you ever realized that the love you were waiting for was you? But in that gut punch realization that you've been pouring out your soul into hands that didn't know what to do with it. I mean, you wake up one day and realize that you've been loving people who weren't really ready for the kind of love you had to give. Like you weren't doing anything wrong. You were showing up fully, honestly, with your heart wide open, giving and hoping and trusting, but the person on the other side of it, they were just not capable, not ready. Maybe they loved you in their own way, but not in a way that could meet you where you are. And at first you think, okay, maybe if I'm more patient, maybe if I just love them harder, maybe if I hold on a little longer, they will rise to it. For a while you thought love was about trying harder, giving more, fixing people who didn't ask to be fixed, just because you could see their potential. But here's the truth to be learned in the hard way. You can't build a future of potential. You can't love someone into readiness. You can't make someone ready just because you are. You can't pour healing into someone who still clings to their wounds. And you can't be the bridge and the destination. And you can't keep choosing people who don't know how to love just because you do. And that's the issue here, because it's a matter of choosing people who are not in alignment with you. Because some people know who they want. They see your light. They feel your presence. They know you're special. But they don't know how to love you. Not in a way that holds you, protects you, or chooses you every day. That's where the men who know who to love but don't know how to love comes in. And that's tragic in its own way. They see the right person, maybe even cherish them deeply inside, but they lack the tools, vulnerability, or emotional literacy to show it properly. So their love is either misunderstood, or it's misfired, or it fades because it was never fully expressed. And if you're anything like you've probably known how to love for a long time, you love deeply, you care deeply, you believe in people, but you keep choosing the ones who can't love you back in the way you deserve. And this is where the women who know how to love but don't know how to choose come in. And this often carry this deep capacity for nurturing, empathy, and emotional intelligence, but maybe they fall for potential instead of reality. or they mistake intensity for compatibility. They give love beautifully, but it lands where it can't fully grow. Put those two together and you've got heartbreak waiting to happen. One giving love endlessly, hoping it will unlock the other, and the other quietly loving back but unable to meet her in the same language. That's a powerful contrast right there, almost poetic. It's like two puzzle pieces that should fit but are cut from different sets. And listen, I get it. It's not because you're foolish. It's not because you're weak. It's because you see people. You believe in the best version of them, sometimes before they even believe in it themselves. But the problem is, loving someone's potential doesn't always bring peace. And somewhere along the line, you realize that kind of love, it breaks you quietly. It makes you question your worth in whispers. It teaches you how to bleed beautifully, but it never teaches you how to heal. You've been pouring your love into cracks that were never yours to fill. You've been staying out of hope when you should have walked away out of self-worth. Until one day, you stop. Not out of anger, not out of bitterness, but because something clicks. And then comes the shift. The quiet, slow shift, where you start loving yourself a little differently. And you start loving yourself in a way that feels holy. You realize that peace is more important than potential. That attention is not the same as affection. And that almost is no longer enough. It's subtle at first. You start listening to your gut more. You start saying no without apologizing. You stop begging for bare minimum love because you finally know your maximum worth. And when that shift happens, everything changes. And that's when it gets quiet, a little lonely, because now you see it clearly. To align with someone else, you first have to align with yourself. You don't chase anymore. You don't try to prove your worth to someone who's blind to it. You don't get high off emotional breadcrumbs or half-hearted connections. You start choosing peace over potential, clarity over chaos, and wholeness over waiting. And here's the part that's hard to admit. That shift, it can be lonely. But you know what? That kind of lonely, it's honest, it's sacred. It's the space where you stop accepting less. And that's where the real ones find you. Because once you align with yourself, you realize that not everyone will align with you. Not everyone can meet you where you are going. And that's okay, but it hurts. You might miss the comfort of familiar cows. You might crave the version of them you fell in love with, the one they could be if they only healed, if they only tried. But here's the thing, you're not here to save people from themselves. You're not here to be half loved. You're not here to dim your light just so someone else doesn't feel overwhelmed. You're here to be fully chosen, fully seen, fully loved. And that starts with you choosing yourself. Every time you say no to what doesn't serve you, you say yes to the kind of love that will. So if you're in that in-between right now, where you're healing, growing, letting go, I just want you to know, it's okay to be lonely sometimes. It's okay to feel the weight of all the love you are willing to give. Don't rush it. Don't settle for anything less. Keep choosing yourself, even when it's hard. Because what's meant for you will never ask you to shrink. And neither should you. Don't go back to the person who made you feel like too much. Don't shrink just to be accepted. Because when you stop accepting less, you make space for everything more. You're not hard to love. You're just finally choosing to love yourself first. And trust me, that's where the real magic begins. And I hope that helps someone. So I will see you in the next one. Till next time, take care of yourselves with much love. God bless.